so much for joining this podcast. What has your experience been like in the industry with acting? What was that first role like that you received? You want to talk through that process?
Yeah, I mean it's been a wild ride. There's
Right.
peaks and valleys, right? So like there's
Mhm.
really great lots of work opportunity moments, and then there's sometimes where it's really quiet and there's not much. But
Mhm.
just to even continue to be here to get auditions, and if I do get a job, then I'm grateful
Mhm.
for that. So but yeah, let me see. The first, okay, so just in a nutshell, I started
Mhm.
acting after I got laid off at my job.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
I was a, yeah, I
Mhm.
was a recreational therapist at a psych hospital in
Okay.
Chicago. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I got my degree in. And then I got laid off in 2008
I'm
when there was a
sorry to
recession.
hear that. Mhm.
Well, you know what? When one door closes, another one opens.
Exactly. And
So,
for you,
you
it,
have to
it
kind of,
worked out.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And sometimes there's another saying that's like, you know, things aren't always a setback. It could be a setup.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I would have followed this path had that not happened to me. So,
Mhm.
you flow with it, and that's what I did. So in 2008, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna follow this acting bug that's been sitting there kind of in
Mhm.
my spirit, and
Right.
I've been really fortunate to have a wonderful ride.
Mhm.
And yeah, but let's see, my first official job that I got was a McDonald's commercial.
Ooh.
And yeah,
Okay.
and we shot that on St. Patrick's Day in
Mhm.
Chicago, and it was really cold.
Oh,
So
I would imagine so.
it was a
Right.
little brisk,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And we shot it outside, like near the river. Cool thing is, on
Mhm.
St. Patrick's Day in Chicago, they dye the river green for
I
St.
didn't
Patrick's
know
Day. So,
that. Oh, that's so
yeah.
cool. Okay.
So that was kind of
Mhm.
cool. But another thing that a lot of people don't realize,
Mhm.
oftentimes when you're filming opposite seasons. So
Oh.
it was cold. It was March, right? But I
Mhm.
mean, it can still be really cold in the Midwest, and we're dressed like it's warmer weather. So I had sandals on, like
Oh my
a short
gosh.
sleeve blouse, and I mean, it was so cold that the director had a heater next to where they were
Hmm.
sitting. Like that's how cold it was, and they had
Wow.
coats. But
That's
we had to
crazy.
look like
Hmm.
we were like, oh yeah, it's hot outside, it's nice, and and I've done stuff before where I've been dressed for winter, and it's like 100 degrees outside. So it's never what you think. It's not
That's
as
crazy.
glamorous as everyone thinks.
Okay.
But yeah, that was my first like real like job, and then I
Hmm.
did student films. I did independent films, and my
Hmm.
first TV show that or
Ooh.
job that I ever did was Detroit 187 on ABC, and
Okay.
I did that in 2010,
Hmm.
and that was fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was a server at a casino.
Oh,
So that
okay.
was Mandy. Her name was Mandy.
Mandy.
Yes. So,
So
yep.
how did you get into the character of Mandy? Like when you read her script, what were your initial thoughts and how did you prep for that audition call?
I mean, honestly, Mandy, it was a co-star role, so it wasn't a very big. I think I had one scene, maybe.
Hmm.
But the tricky part was I
Hmm.
had to pretend to be a server, right? So like I was holding a tray of
Hmm.
drinks, and I had high heels on, a little short skirt because I'm working in a casino.
Right.
And I'm already at this point in my life, I've never been a server.
Hmm.
So balancing that is a whole nother thing. It's a skill that I tip my hat to. But I had to walk across the casino up to one of the main characters, one of the police officers,
Hmm.
and confront him because we have a history. I guess he never called me back or something. And I had to get
Oh.
mad at him.
Hmm.
And while holding the tray
Yeah.
and balancing the drinks, I had to slap him. It was a lot.
That seems like a lot. Like you have
Yeah.
to hold it and then also use your
Yeah,
hands
it
to
was,
slap.
and to
Hmm.
do a fake slap, so to a stunt slap, that's it. Again, it seems easy, right? But like I don't go around slapping people in real
Me
life.
neither.
I mean, I don't really have a reason to. Hopefully I will never have a
Hmm.
reason to. But
Yes.
to sell a slap,
Hmm.
you have to do it a right. Same thing when people shoot guns, when
Yeah.
they are anything like,
Hmm.
and it's not like this easy, and it was challenging, even though it was a really small like
Really?
scene.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff going on there, so I mean,
Hmm.
I couldn't really prep for that too much because I didn't know,
Okay.
all the stuff that it would entail, but you
Hmm.
just kind of go with the flow, and luckily it turned out
Yeah,
fine.
that is great. Well, thank you for sharing about that from
Mhm.
where it started with the McDonald's commercial. And again, I'm sorry about the 2008 recession, the job
Yeah.
loss, but I'm really glad everything did work out.
Hmm.
And 10 plus years later, I was
Hmm.
watching you in Bel Air. So I have to ask about that because I truly love the show.
Oh,
Watched
good.
all the seasons, I'm all caught up. So with your role as Erica, can you take me
Mhm.
through that process of finding out about her character and then going through the script,
Mhm.
audition, and then to where you are at the actual day, finding out that you got the role?
Okay.
Hmm.
So yeah, the audition came in and
Yeah.
I taped it. I did a self-tape with my
Hmm.
manager. It was two scenes, actually the two scenes that were in her introductory episode where they meet
Hmm.
at
Right.
lunch. Um and so it was the same scenes. I didn't really change much. And
Hmm.
we just did the audition and you send it in and you
Yeah.
kind of well, I tend to try not to think about it because what's for you is for you.
Exactly.
Uh, and then found out I booked it, which is great. And initially, I was gonna have 3 episodes as Erica,
Hmm.
um, but then that ended up growing into 4, and then 5, and then coming back for another season for 3 more.
Hmm.
So a total of 8 episodes,
Yeah.
and that was a pleasant surprise. But no, it's fun. I mean, Erica, it was a fun role. It's fun going in and kind of triggering people and getting people kind of like riled up. I guess that means I did
Yeah,
my job.
you did.
Um, but I like Erica. I don't. It's always interesting to have conversations about her with people because
Hmm.
everyone's like, oh, she's a home wrecker, she's a scallywag, she's a flooz. I mean, she was called every
Yeah,
kind of name in the book on Black Twitter, especially. So like, it was
exactly.
kind of funny.
Hmm.
But I really didn't look at her in that way. I guess
Oh. Mm.
it's up, the backstory with characters, unless
Hmm.
the creators are really telling you, okay, this is what happened, this is what happened. You can kind
Hmm.
of fill in the blanks for yourself.
Hmm.
What I did get with her is,
Yeah,
her and Phil have a history and they had a great connection,
they
and
did.
me
Yeah.
personally, I
Hmm.
think as Deandra, we have multiple soulmates in our lives. And
Okay.
I think for this particular show, they were
Hmm.
probably soulmates and they
Hmm.
they got along well, but they just kind of wanted two different things. And
Hmm.
and I think that, she sacrificed a lot, family and
Hmm.
love and
For
friends
her
for
career.
her career.
Right.
And she worked hard because it was dog eat dog world. She's like, nobody's gonna do for
Hmm.
me. I have to do this and that. And so I
Exactly.
think Bill was one of the
Mm.
few people that really knew who could see her for her, like her true
Okay.
self, like with the mask off. Like he knew her
Hmm.
heart, and I think she really knew Phil. And
Hmm.
so I don't think her coming into the picture was. I personally didn't think she had ill intentions. That she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get this married man." I don't think.
Really?
I
Did she
don't
mean
think
that she
so.
was married?
But was she really even coming at him in the beginning? Like it was work.
But after a point,
And
maybe it switched, or do you not think
but
that?
but maybe it was a situation
Hmm.
where they reconnect, and I don't know if her firm said, oh hey, we know you know him, we need you to go court him and bring him in, or if she was like, hey, I got somebody, who knows, right, how that happened.
We don't know. That's the
But
case, right?
right,
Hmm.
exactly. And so it
Yeah.
could have very start off very innocent in
Hmm.
intention, and it's just work because they both respect each other as attorneys.
Hmm.
And then who knows, after things go on, maybe things kind of come back up, who knows.
Could be.
But I feel
Hmm.
like, and I can't speak, I guess I don't want to say too much because I don't know if everybody's watched everything, and I haven't even finished season 3 myself. I need to finish it,
Really?
but
Oh, I would have thought you would have watched all the episodes.
I'm like
But
3
yeah.
episodes now. I'm terrible. I
Okay.
don't watch a lot of TV. It's funny because I work
You're
in
an
TV. Yeah.
actress. Yeah.
um but I think
Hmm.
that you know what people will see. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think she redeemed herself. I don't think she had ill intent, and I think that you're human and things can come up sometimes, and not
Hmm.
intentionally. And I think she meant well. So
Hmm.
it's. I have met some people that actually they're like, oh, I like Erica. Like she's a
Oh,
boss. She did it. Yeah, and they didn't look at her in a negative way. But
okay.
again, it's up for interpretation. So I think we've
Hmm.
all met people like this, or
Hmm.
maybe some people have been people like this, or are people like this.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting for when people get triggered, like what that's bringing up for them and why,
That is so
So
true.
yeah, but it was
Yeah.
fun. It was fun playing, and she
Hmm.
dressed fly. They had her dressed
Every episode that we
exquisitely.
saw her in. Yes.
Yeah, she was fly. Yeah.
Wow, that is a really interesting take. Like there are two sides to
Mhm.
every story. Some
Uh-huh.
people might see her in that way of kind of getting in between Aunt Viv
Mhm.
and, Uncle Phil, the relationship. And then there is another side to that. So it's really just about how you're watching the show, what you're
Yep.
thinking, what your already like inner thoughts about this are.
Yep.
So that's very interesting to give that other perspective because
Mhm.
I know I was thinking some kind of way. I was like, oh, maybe she's a little bit at fault, but
Yeah.
again, it's all about perspective and how
Yep.
she ultimately does act as a character. So that's
Yeah.
interesting to see her own level of growth. And that's amazing.
I'm
So
just
thank you
saying.
for sharing that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Right.
You're welcome.
Mhm. And about Bel Air, do you know if there's going to be another season or if you can discuss that? Or you
I have no
no
idea. I don't, to
idea?
my knowledge, they haven't been picked up for another season because I feel like it would have been announced. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the show has still been really strong. So I feel like it would get
Yes.
another season. But
Mm-hmm.
this business is really unpredictable, and
Sure.
there's amazing shows that
Mm-hmm.
get canceled, and then there's shows that are just like,
Mm.
and then they keep going. So
Ah.
I don't I don't hold my breath with anything, but I think they deserve another season. I think it's written, the writing is strong, the acting is strong,
Mm-hmm.
the storylines are strong. I mean, every component of it is just really, really good. And I'm not saying that just because I got to be a part of it, but
Mm-hmm.
there's just not a lot of really good all around shows out there. And I think that this is
Mm-hmm.
one of them. And I hope they keep going. So
Me
yeah,
too.
hopefully.
I
Yeah.
hope
I mean, they
so.
came
Like
in hot season
they
3.
did.
They came in hot.
There was a
Okay.
lot going on. And
Yeah.
what were your thoughts like watching, the start of the season to where you are now? I know you haven't finished it, but what
Hmm.
are your initial thoughts? Because this is a different kind of season. They're in the
Hmm.
summertime, not really focused on
Hmm.
school academics. So what were you thinking watching, your co-stars and all
Hmm.
that, if you want to get
Yeah,
into
I
that?
mean,
Hmm.
well, to just give you an idea, like when I started
Yeah.
in season 2, I'll
Hmm.
never forget my first day of shooting. Adrian, who plays Uncle Phil, he was like, "So, do you watch the show?" And I was like, "No, I haven't seen it," because I didn't have Peacock. I hadn't seen it. I had seen
Hmm.
clips, but then my mom went and got Peacock, and I got to use her
Hmm.
password. So
Oh,
then I
they should give
watched it.
you a free Peacock
I mean,
subscription. That's
they should. You're right.
they
I
should.
feel like they need to.
Yes.
But then I watched it and I was like, oh, this is a really good show,
Hmm.
and it's really, I think they did such an amazing job of reimagining
Hmm.
Fresh Prince. So a lot of people came in with the expectation it's going to be Fresh Prince of Bel Air, and I tell people from the jump, I'm like, you can't do that.
No.
This is not that. So you're going to
Mhm.
come in already with a certain taste in your mouth if that's what you want. But
Right.
the great thing is, I think every character still, they
Hmm.
have the essence of the original characters, but then they make it their own. And then the
Yes.
storylines are very, a lot of them are parallel to what actually happened in the original, right? Um,
Right.
and so I think they do a great job of just the dramatic interpretation of everything and making it
Hmm.
modernized and but still keeping that same essence.
Hmm.
So I've loved watching that.
Hmm.
And then to see, I mean, yeah, the arcs of all of the characters, their
A lot
storylines,
of
and
growth.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
drama, life is drama, but then this is TV drama, so like they
Hmm.
keep raising the
Yeah.
stakes, which I think is great.
Every
And
season.
talking about, yeah,
Hmm.
and talking about uncomfortable things
Hmm.
because it's real,
Yes.
that's real life. And I think especially for today's younger
Hmm.
generation,
Yeah.
um they this is relevant. Like, some of us could look back and go, "Oh, I don't
Hmm.
really necessarily connect with that, or I don't understand
Hmm.
that." Today, your generation,
Yeah.
you guys are seeing things a little different. Like even like
We
stuff like
are.
these street takeovers and like the things
Hmm.
with the cars and right, like
Yeah.
that whole world.
The street
Like my
racing.
daughter, yeah, my
Hmm.
daughter, I'll never forget. Just like last year, she called me. It was like 11 o'clock at night. She's like, "Yeah, so I think we got stuck in a takeover," and I'm like, "What?"
What?
And yeah, and they were
Wow.
her and her roommates were gonna go grab some food, and all of a sudden,
Hmm.
like they were stopped, and all these people stopped and got out their cars, and they're just sitting there, but they can't go anywhere.
I've
And
never
so
heard of
they,
that.
yeah,
Wow.
it's wild.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, that's like a thing, them doing stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Who
But
knew?
that's like relevant for a lot of people today, so they can get it.
Mhm.
Or even if we're talking about substance use, the different
Sure.
things with that, like, and then the
Right.
social media stuff. So
Hmm.
they do a really great job of really attacking some topics that
Yeah.
people are going to understand, and some great messages through there. And so
Hmm.
again, with every single cast member on there, not only are they amazing people in person, they're all really, really
I'm
nice
sure.
people. Every single person, and they're all super talented, right?
Yeah.
On top of that, I mean, their performances have been
Hmm.
just wonderful. You know, they feel lived,
Yes.
you know, from my perspective. So
Hmm.
it's great seeing everybody, you know, stepping up to the plate and knocking it out of the park. They're doing a great job. Yeah.
They are, and so are you too. I think
Oh, thank
everyone
you.
that's watched the show, no problem, has really enjoyed, again, just watching these characters, their growth, their own
Mhm.
development, and seeing
Mhm.
how much they succeed. Really,
Yeah.
in season three, just the stakes are higher. Everything is kind of like
Hmm.
elevated, right? So that has been incredible.
Yeah.
So I would love to ask, what have been
Mhm.
some of your favorite moments on set filming with these exceptional actors, actresses, the director? What are some of the moments you want to share?
That's hard. Okay, so
Mhm.
so I felt like, you know, season two, I was in 5 episodes, so I was on set a lot more
Right.
time wise, right? And season three, I just had a few episodes, so I kind of was in and out real quick. So I
Okay.
definitely missed everybody. I'm like, oh, I want to see you guys, I want to hang out, you know, because from the moment I stepped onto that set, it was family. It was
Oh,
family. I was received. I felt like I was
yeah.
home. Everybody was warm. Everybody was kind.
Mhm.
You know, we just clicked right away. And so that just made the overall experience that even better, right?
That's
Because you
so
don't you
great.
don't always get that on a set. I mean,
Right.
I haven't really experienced anything bad
Mhm.
really when working. I've been really fortunate, but this one in particular just was like, wow, everybody from the cast to the crew to everybody was just like, so like, hey, welcome, you know, and it felt great.
Mhm.
So
Oh,
I,
that's
I
great.
I would say like, I mean, we always had fun, you know.
Mhm.
There, I'm trying to think of any, you know, there's little behind the moments, behind the scenes moments. Like I think I even
Yeah.
have a little video of Jabari and Javan, who plays Jeffrey's son,
Right.
uh, on the side. I forget the
I
character's
think it's
name.
Frederick.
Frederick.
Frederick, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I
Frederick.
have a little video of them like play fighting
Mhm.
and doing this thing, like, and everybody's just kind of waiting, but everybody just had fun, you know,
Mhm.
and some really great conversations that we
Yeah.
had off camera, just
Mhm.
about personal stuff or even the business. Um,
Mhm.
I will say this, and
Yeah.
I don't think he'll mind if I say this. So Adrian and I worked a lot together,
I would
because
assume
our
so.
storylines, right?
Right.
And I just never forget being in the van, going back to base camp, and we were just talking about, you know, how fortunate we were to be able to do this. And you know, I just remember him saying, and I'm
Mhm.
paraphrasing, but
Mhm.
he was just so grateful. He said, how fortunate and lucky am I to be able to do this,
Mhm.
do what I love, and to be able to continue to do it. And you know what I'm saying, like on the show and as a lead and this and that. And he
That's
just,
amazing.
he didn't take that for granted. You know, I mean, for actors, for a lot of us, we're not always working. Most of the time
Okay.
we're not, right?
Oh.
So when we do work,
Mm-hmm.
most we're grateful, you know. So for him to be in a position where he's working, he's been working a lot more than probably most of us actors, having a show, and he had some other, I feel like he's always working on something, and
Okay.
rightfully so.
Yes.
But for him to just even be voicing it and say and sitting
Mm-hmm.
in so much gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
it just like, I just have that much more respect for him, because you know, you can
Right.
kind of sometimes, I think in this business, you can get to a
Mm-hmm.
level where you may forget where you came from, or you
That
may forget how
happens.
hard it was to be sitting there just trying to get an audition, or you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so things like moments like that I shared, those
Yeah.
personal one-on-ones with everybody,
Mm-hmm.
I really, really cherish those and treasure
Mm-hmm.
those. Um,
So
but
great.
like on set, oh, I do have something fun.
I'm all ears.
One of the I'm trying to think, I was like, let me
Yeah.
think. There was an episode that Tasha Smith was directing
Okay.
in season two. So I think she's directed every
Oh,
season, but every
nice.
episode there's new directors, right? They rotate. So
Right. Right.
this particular episode, I was working on, and she was fun because she brought music. She had like a little speaker, and she would
Mm-hmm.
play music on set and this and that. And then there was one moment where
Ooh.
everybody was just singing. We're all like hair and makeup is doing your touch ups, but everybody's like, hey, and Cassie's over there because Cassie, she loves her singing and performing. She's
Hmm.
great.
Aunt
And
Viv.
everybody's just
Yes.
singing and goofing. And I
Hmm.
think I have some video of that. And it's just moments like that where everybody's just being carefree and
Yes.
having fun.
Hmm.
That was a good memory.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's much else, but I
I
mean,
love
it was always
that.
fun. It was always
Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, that sounds really amazing. You're able to like get on set and have this family built in, like everyone's getting along, and it's just all these really fun moments, just creating
Hmm.
this very iconic show.
Hmm.
And I love that for you guys.
Hmm.
So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And did you ever watch the original Fresh Prince of Bel Air?
Girl, I
You
grew up
did.
with the original Fresh Prince
Okay,
of
okay.
Bel-Air.
Me too,
Yes,
me
yes,
too.
I watched that. Yes.
And who was your favorite character if you could
Oh,
choose just one?
see, that's I'm always terrible with questions like that because I just
Okay,
like everything.
some of your
I
favorite,
don't
just like a general.
know. I mean, everyone was great. Like
They
you can't
were.
go wrong. Everyone was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
you can. I mean, you have Will obviously, but like
Mm-hmm.
Jeffrey played was amazing. You know.
He was.
I mean, I like them all. I'm
Okay,
gonna
okay.
look. I know, but
Mhm.
everybody was wonderful.
No,
So.
I would agree. Like that's fine. Like no favorites, everyone was really great just watching that
Mhm.
show. And then again,
Yep.
we have like this spin-off series and we
Mhm.
can just reminisce.
Yep.
Very
Yep.
solid.
Yep.
But yes, and growing up, were there other like 90s, early 2000s shows that you grew up with that kind
Mm.
of like were close to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Like, those iconic black shows like Girlfriends, if you watched that, or One on
Mhm.
One. Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember watching Living Single. I remember
Right.
watching A Different World. I
Oh,
mean, there
that's
was The
great.
Cosby Show.
Mm-hmm.
There was, I mean, you had all those shows that
Mm-hmm.
I watched,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, I mean, I'm trying to think if there are any others. It's funny. I watched Family Matters, but it wasn't like my show that,
Oh,
I've seen it, but it wasn't
mm-hmm.
like
Like
that
the
was
show
my show
show.
that I
Okay.
watched all the
I
time.
get that.
I think the
Yeah.
Cosby Show for me probably overall I probably saw the most of, and
Ooh, I've never seen
you've
it
never seen
actually.
the Cosby Show.
I've
Okay,
never seen
so
it.
and I get
Yeah.
sometimes speaking about the Cosby Show can be kind of tricky
Controversial.
because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
if I take let's just take that part of it out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that show was, I mean, it's iconic,
Mm-hmm.
and the character, not just that particular person. I mean, he did great and everything, but like everybody
Mm-hmm.
else was amazing. And there's moments from those shows, there's scenes that you will always have. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's this you okay, there's certain go look some of these up.
Okay.
There's an episode with Theo, which is Malcolm Jamal Warner, plays his
Mm-hmm.
son, and he had a designer shirt that he wanted to wear.
Mm-hmm.
And and it was a Gordon Gartrell was the name of the designer. And so Denise,
Mm-hmm.
his sister, was like, "Well, I can make that for you. I can
Yeah.
make." And he was like, "What? I can make it for you." And so she makes him his designer shirt, and
Mm-hmm.
it is a whole. It's not it doesn't turn out well,
Oh.
but it's one of the funniest episodes. And I
Mm-hmm.
know people who watch the show know this know that
I'm sure they
particular.
do.
Oh, it's classic. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
please go watch that when you get a chance. Like look it up on YouTube or something and look up for that because it's
Classic.
classic. Um,
Okay.
but I mean, and then there's so many other ones
Mm-hmm.
like episodes that just I remember. Like I
Yeah.
can still see it. I can still repeat it.
Mhm.
See, look, I know. See, people are like, yes, I know that
They
show. Yes,
do.
okay. It was.
Hmm.
They were great. It was a great show. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate that it has a stain to it now because of
it does.
who knows. Again, I'm not gonna go down that whole rabbit hole,
It's
but it really
okay.
was a
Hmm.
wonderful show, and it dug into some really uh real moments. I
Hmm.
think all those shows did. All those shows, I think
During
most,
that time.
yeah, I think most
Yeah.
comedies, especially from back in the
Hmm.
day, because even if you have like Roseanne and,
Hmm.
other things like that, right? Growing Pains, there's all these other shows.
Yeah.
All of them did a really, really good
Hmm.
job of being funny, but also being very real.
That's
Because when you have
so
those, if you
true.
go back and watch some of these moments and then the
Mhm.
serious moments,
Yeah.
it will hit you like, oh, like
It
I think
does.
even
Like
more
that
so
is
than some of
going
these shows
on.
today. Yeah, like the
Hmm.
shows today, like the comedies are like, but like
Yeah.
it got real.
It did.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's still relatable, like to
Hmm.
generations today. If you go back and watch those, people can
Yeah.
relate to those exact same thing. So yeah, that's all the things I watched.
No, That's great. And I know you don't watch a lot of things now, but what do you do in your like free time to just like de-stress from acting roles?
I mean, well, I probably have a lot of in between time between jobs anyway, so it's not like I'm
Okay.
always auditioning or working. I would like
Mm.
to think that I'm always working and auditioning, but it's not. That's not the reality.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, in my free time, I love music. So I'm the
Me
type of
too.
person, if I'm in my house, I'll have the music on. Like,
Okay.
if nobody's home, especially, I just have music playing. And like yesterday, I
Hmm.
think I had music on all afternoon. I was just singing and dancing. I went down an 80s
Hmm.
rabbit hole. I was down old like 90s R&B and hip hop, and then like,
Okay.
just whatever. I
Hmm.
there's so much beauty in music.
Hmm.
And especially going back to old songs, it can take you to a place. It can take you to a moment in your life. Like I think my daughter was with me the other day. I'm like, I remember this came out when I was living in Chicago, and this part of
Wow.
my internship, or this
Hmm.
happened when high school, and I remember an ex-boyfriend gave me this CD or this tape. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
so it instantly transports you back.
It
But it
does.
also just gives you
Hmm.
like it can fill you up and get your energy right. So I love
Hmm.
listening to music and
Hmm.
singing and probably acting like I can still dance. And
I'm sure you can.
um, I think my husband was talking about me yesterday. He's like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "Those knees aren't as good as they used to be," and I'm like, "Well,
No,
listen, don't worry about it."
not the
But
shade. Uh-oh.
but uh, but no, I so
Mhm.
music and I do write and I want to. I go in spurts. Like I'll be back to my writing, like screenplay
Mhm.
type things,
Yeah.
and I want to get back to that. I get in zones where I'm doing it a lot, and then I kind of get away from it.
Okay.
So I enjoy writing. That's always been one of my strengths. And
Mhm.
then I enjoy actually just recently. So this is my new thing. I'll share.
Okay.
You're one of the first
I'm
people to
ready
hear
to
about.
hear.
Not
I'm
that it's
excited.
anything special. Well, no, for
Okay.
me, I
Mhm.
just recently have been connecting and reconnecting with a lot of family that I
Oh.
haven't really known.
Mhm.
And so it's my parents divorced when I was young, so I
I'm sorry to
didn't
hear
really
that.
get. I mean,
Mhm.
it's fine. It happens.
Okay.
Listen, it happens, and sometimes it's not always a bad thing. Everything you just you
Mhm.
work through it, and I with my dad's side, I didn't get to know them as well because I just wasn't
Oh.
around them as much. I mean, I know some of them, but um
Mhm.
I just my uncle passed earlier this year, and as a
Sorry.
result,
Yes. Mhm.
I went back to the family home and I got to go through all these old pictures and things. And
Mhm.
I love pictures. I love, especially the older pictures. I love
Yeah.
family history and things like
Mhm.
that. I can go really far back on my mom's side, back to like the 1400s, and we have
Really?
a family tree. Oh yeah,
That
like
is
way back. It's
wow.
yes, and like
Exceptional.
pictures, and I've always been
Mhm.
fascinated with that. So with my dad's side, I could only get like I would try to trace the family tree, and I could only get like a couple generations down, and then I hit roadblocks,
Oh.
which is also really hard. So
Mhm.
my mom is white, my dad is
Okay.
black. Okay,
Got it.
so my right
Mhm.
side history can go way back. Okay, talk
Yes.
about who came over on the Mayflower
Mhm.
to who was royalty and beheaded in Europe. We got people. Okay,
That is
now, the
wow.
black side, though,
Mm.
we get a lot. It's challenging
It
because
is. Yeah. Yeah.
people were stolen. People,
True.
excuse me, names were
Mhm.
changed. There aren't documents. You,
Right.
it's so much harder to trace that, right? So
Mhm.
I've been trying so hard. So, anyways,
Mhm.
what recently happened was as it was bittersweet. My uncle passed. He's in a much better place.
I'm sorry
But as a
about
result,
that.
I was able to connect with family. And now I
Okay.
started learning these
Mhm.
sides of my family, which I found cousins that share
Mhm.
the same last name, that share a bloodline. I mean,
That's
and
amazing.
family's not just a blood thing, right? Family
Right.
is you've chosen friends and stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's not just blood. But
Yeah.
I'm an only child, and I
Ooh.
also don't really have too many. I mean, I have cousins on my mom's
Yeah.
side that I know,
Mhm.
but we didn't grow up in the same area,
Mhm.
and I don't have a lot that are like my age. So it's just you
Mhm.
always like who are my people? And so
Mhm.
as a result, I have all these really cool pictures from my family, like amazing
Oh,
black
that's
and
so
white
great.
photos, like stuff that I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I have pictures of my great grandparents. I have pictures
Mhm.
of like things. And then I found one branch a little bit and kind of connected with them. And then this last
Mhm.
week, I just connected with now my grandmother's side. And now all of a sudden,
Wow.
I spent 5 hours on the phone between two cousins earlier this week talking. I'm going to talk to another one tomorrow.
Mhm.
We've been sharing pictures and stories. So
That's
all this opened up
exciting.
for me. So I
Yeah.
do enjoy that too. So that's been, and
Mhm.
then it's been filling in my puzzle, and I
Mhm.
enjoy stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't always do it, but like
Mm.
that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, ooh, what else can I
Yeah.
find? And things like that.
Wow.
Thank you for
That is
listening.
yes. Thank you for sharing. That's really
Hmm.
exceptional. You got to connect with your
Hmm.
cousins, chat with them. Do you think you guys will meet in
Oh
person?
yeah, I met some of them. I was back
Mhm.
home a couple weeks ago, so we
Okay.
got to see each other in person, and
Mhm.
then we're gonna probably do a Zoom with some of my other family soon
Okay.
because a lot of us are trying
Mhm.
to learn more about
E-
our
Each
family, and,
other.
and with every
Okay.
generation we lose, you lose those
Oh,
stories, right? You
right.
you lose if you don't talk about it or keep it.
Mhm.
So we have a cousin that's like my second cousin, so he's probably my dad's
Mhm.
age, but he has a
Okay.
lot of family history, as does his sister. So we're all going to try to get together where, especially some
Mhm.
of us younger ones, can like share pictures, share
Mhm.
stories, and we can all learn how everything's connected. And so it's really beautiful. It's exciting. So yeah, I'll be seeing them in person. They stuck with me now. That's what I told them. I was like, you stuck now.
Right. Y'all
I
are
mean,
family. Stuck
yeah,
for
I got
life.
this goofy cousin over here, and now they're stuck.
Oh,
So
well,
yeah,
I'm very happy for you, and I
thank you.
that is amazing that you can just reconnect, find people in your family, and just grow that little connection that
Hmm.
you have now established. So
Yep.
that is fantastic.
Thank you.
And switching gears
Yeah.
a little bit, for
Hmm.
any actor and actress that's listening, what is some advice you'd like to give them about this industry and just trying to make it?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Um, well, I believe
Mhm.
one of my saving graces in this business is what's for you is for you. I
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
look at, not booking something as
Mhm.
rejection or as a no. It just wasn't for me.
Mhm.
And I like to think that the things that are for me are aligning,
Yeah.
out in the universe. Um, you
Mhm.
have to have fun, like it's a
Mhm.
tricky business. I think anything in life is tricky, right?
Right.
But a lot of times in a lot of careers, you can work your way up. So you can continue
Mhm.
to work, maybe get a promotion, and
Mhm.
maybe you'll get another degree, which helps you get higher and higher
Mhm.
and higher, right?
Mhm.
There's really no
Right.
guarantees in this business. You can
Wow.
train for 100 years, you can train for 1 year,
Mhm.
you could, work for 5 years and then not work for 5 more
Mhm.
years. So there's no
Okay.
guarantee. I
Mhm.
know a lot of really, really talented people that are just wanting
Mhm.
to get an audition or get a representative.
Mhm.
And it's not easy.
Mhm.
It's a marathon, not a
Okay.
sprint. You have to
Okay.
really understand that,
Mhm.
it's just it takes time.
Mhm.
It can take time.
Mhm.
Everybody's
Sure.
journey is different. Everybody's journey is different. And you just have to like have faith that plant your
Mhm.
seeds, like don't go in trying to
Mhm.
book the job, just go in and try to book the room,
Yeah.
so with casting
Mhm.
directors, this job may not be right for you, or may already have someone that looks like you, or maybe you're not a name enough, who knows, right? There's
Mhm.
so many things that have nothing to do with you personally, but
Okay.
do the work, go in and say, hey, here's my take on this, and you leave it, and it might be enough for them to go, you know what, I really like them, let me keep them in mind for something else. It may not be right for this, but
Next
maybe
one.
something in the future.
Yeah.
And that's happened. Like I've literally, sorry, something's going past here. Oh, hope everything's okay.
It's okay.
um uh
Mhm.
I literally have had situations come around that,
Mhm.
I didn't get this, I didn't book this audition, but because of that audition, I got something else.
Right.
Or I worked on a show. I just had this happen. I worked on a show 7 years ago,
Mhm.
and the director just hit me up earlier this
What?
year and said, hey, I'm doing this other show. I think you'd be great for this role. So you
Oh,
never know
okay.
who's watching.
Mhm.
You never know who remembers, and you just plant those seeds, have fun, do the
Mhm.
work. And
Yes.
my other thing is, listen, a quote that I live by, I always share this, but it is huge for my life, and
Mhm.
it's in my email, or bio too, or
I think I
whatever.
saw
It says,
that. Yeah.
it's never too late to be what you might have been, by
Mhm.
George Eliot. And I just believe that because I started at age 30,
Oh,
and
okay.
there's room for everybody.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like life is short, paths change,
Mhm.
and if something's on you and in you, it's there for a reason. So why not
Yes.
try it? Like, I don't know. I tell people, like,
Mhm.
I guess it's like, if people say, well, how can you? I go, well, why can't I?
Yeah, right.
Like, I'm a
Yeah.
little girl from Iowa. Listen, I started acting at 30.
Mm-hmm.
And here,
Why
I've been
can't you?
really, why can't you? There's almost
Mhm.
nothing you can't do. So,
Say it
just, yeah,
again.
like,
Yeah.
don't listen to the stories that everybody will tell you. Everybody's journey is
That's
different.
true.
There's no one right way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think if somebody's trying to get into the business, I mean, learn what you can. If that means
Mm-hmm.
taking a class, if that means
Take the
watching film,
class. Mm-hmm.
right? Going to
Right.
theater, if that means reading books,
Mm-hmm.
if that means just studying human nature around you, studying yourself and other people, because that's what we're doing as actors. We're just
Mm-hmm.
portraying real life things. So if you pay attention
Yeah.
to behavior
Mm-hmm.
and you understand like what's going on, and then you can kind of, bring that to the scene, then
Right.
that's what you're supposed to be doing. So you can learn in ways where you don't necessarily have to, because it can get expensive to take classes and to do
It
everything,
can.
right?
It can
Yeah,
get
but
pricey as well.
and
Yeah.
everybody's journey is different. So don't, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
go to college for acting. I have trained. I
Mm-hmm.
have worked at my craft.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm not less than because I didn't have a more traditional route. Um,
Right.
nor and yeah, anyways,
Yeah. I
I'm
get what
not
you
going down the road.
mean. No,
Everybody's
it's
journey is
great.
different, but just do
Yes.
what's right for you
Mm-hmm.
and know that that's enough and continue to just hone your instrument and your craft and just and keep growing. Yeah.
Fantastic advice. I'll take that for myself. I'm not
There you go.
in the industry, but I think that's always so important.
Anything.
If it for anything, right? If you don't get one opportunity, it could just be preparing you for the next one. So that is
And
really
past change.
inspirational.
Listen, past change, and that's okay.
It
I
does.
tell my daughter this all the time. I
Hmm.
said, listen, so she's a senior in college, okay?
Oh,
And I
me too.
said, are you? Okay, we're
I
like that,
am.
yes.
Thank you.
So what I told her was,
Hmm.
when she was trying to figure out what she wanted to get her degree in, I said, do something that brings joy to you,
Hmm.
that's interesting, that you like, that you would have fun doing.
Yeah.
And if that changes down the road, that's okay. But like, I don't
Hmm.
do what I went to college for, but I still had a
Hmm.
great experience in college. And then just
Hmm.
being open because you just never know what's going to come into your orbit, and flowing
Right.
is the biggest thing. So like,
Hmm.
you could be, I mean, I didn't know what I was going to do until I was halfway through college. I'm sorry. I didn't know what I was going to get my degree in until I was halfway through college. And I spoke
Okay.
to somebody and they told me about this thing. And I was like, I'd never heard of it. I'm like, what is that?
Oh.
And so
Hmm.
like, I don't know, past change. I never planned on being an actor, but
Hmm.
here I am. And
Yeah.
down the road, I may go a different path, but
Hmm.
that's okay.
It
Like, just you have to listen
is.
to yourself and
Hmm.
and do what brings you joy. That's
Exactly.
how I see it, anyways. Yes.
That is amazing. And I love that viewpoint. Just do what makes you happy, and you're going to find your own path.
Yep.
And it could change after a while. That's okay too.
Absolutely.
Adjust the change and know that something great could happen.
It all works out somehow.
It
Yep.
does.
Yep.
Right. And as a final question,
Yes.
where can we watch you next? Or is there a show that's just come out with you in, or a movie, or a short film? Where can we
Mhm.
see you, Deandra?
Okay, so actually, this is perfect timing because I didn't realize this until I think yesterday or the day before. But I have a
Okay.
show airing on Monday. I'll be,
What?
yeah,
Mhm.
I did an episode of 911 Lone Star,
Okay.
and so that'll air on Fox
Mhm.
on Monday night. I'm not sure the time, but that was fun.
Mhm.
There was a fun scene in there, and I won't say anything about it unless people watch it. Then they'll see it. But I did get to work with Gina Torres
What?
again. I don't know if you're familiar with Gina
Oh,
Torres.
I love
So
her. Yeah.
I worked with her years, like 6 years ago. I
Mhm.
did an episode of Pearson, which was a Suit spinoff, and
Okay.
I was opposite her then, and we kind of like
Mhm.
challenged each other. And then I got to be opposite her again on
Mhm.
911 Lone Star. So that was kind of fun. She's
Mhm.
great. She's just amazing.
Mhm.
Um, and so that airs on Monday,
Mhm.
and uh, down the road, I pop in an episode of the new ABC show, High Potential.
Oh,
So I'll be doing
nice.
that towards the end of the season, and then
Okay.
there's like another Hulu show that's untitled right now that'll probably come out next year. So
Okay.
when I get more information,
Mhm.
I'll post it.
Let
But
me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So and I
That's
probably,
awesome.
oh, let me see. I look like this
Mhm.
on High Potential and the Hulu show.
Mhm.
911 Lone Star, my hair is a little darker, it's curly, but
Oh, okay.
obviously you see Erica had the straight hair.
Yeah, the straight
That was an
hair.
amazing wig, by the way. I
Okay.
think they did a great
S-
job.
It was not your own natural hair. You never
That was
dyed your
all
hair.
wig. They did a
Okay.
great. Yeah, because I leave my
That's
natural highlights. I don't want to damage
oh
my color. I love it, but
yeah.
it's the business of pretend. So you can do wigs
Mhm.
and you can do whatever. And yeah, I like looking different. It's
Okay.
fun.
Oh,
Nobody ever knows that I play Erica. When I meet them, they have no clue. None.
really?
Their
Because of
mind
the
is like,
wig.
oh, because the wig.
Wow.
And in a way, it's a good thing because I don't need anybody rolling up on me in person thinking I'm Erica and trying to act
Yes.
crazy because, this ain't Erica.
Yeah.
This is,
Hmm.
I don't think Erica will play either, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
No, it's
That is
cool.
so true.
It's fun.
Wow. Well, I cannot wait to watch all the shows, 911 Lone
Mhm.
Star, and then the Untitled Hulu
Uh-huh.
project, and then High
High
Potential.
potential. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I will be tuning in and watching, and I'll let you know,
Okay.
of course. But thank you so much, Deandra, for being on this podcast, for talking about your role of Erica and your own acting journey, acting experience, and fun
Thank
hobbies
you.
as well, because that is all truly incredible. So thank you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you. And I wish you well in your journey. Congrats on being a senior
Oh,
in college.
thank
That's
you.
exciting.
And to your
So keep
daughter
in
as
touch with me. Let
well.
me know. What's up? Thank you.
Yes,
I will let her know. I will let her know.
that's great. And yeah, thank you again for joining. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, all the hours you have left for LA.
Ooh,
Enjoy
yes.
your day and have a great weekend as well.
Thank you. You too.
No problem.
Bye.